Hi, everyone, and welcome back. Thanks for joining me again today as we continue walking this pilgrimage, both inner and outer, for peace that started 25 years ago and that obviously is continuing to this very day. And in the last episode, Alberto was here with me, as he is again.
Hello.
And he was with me just to introduce himself, to speak about his inner journey, to speak about the great influences that he had in his life that shaped the way that he thinks, the way that he looks upon the world, the great influence, especially that came from his upbringing from a mother who was a very devout person, and I would say even a mystic in her own way, who truly looked upon life, looked upon God as love, love as the truth of what existence is, what God is, especially. And that was something that she passed on to all her kids and obviously to Alberto as well. And there was so much to talk about, so much that we could get into that we ended up, the hour just passed very quickly. And we ended our conversation where we had met, he and I, for the first time in Finisterre at the end of the world, where we ended up just spending a few hours together. Me with my almost non-existent Spanish, and him with his also very limited English through the character in the book, the pilgrim named Hannah, who was a pilgrim I had walked with and that he had walked with, and who had literally brought us together, and who became our translator, as she spoke both languages pretty well. And so in Finisterre, I told him about this, this calling that I felt to walk to Jerusalem, and I felt that he was, wow, this is great, fantastic. But we didn't really spend too much more time talking about it. It was something that I shared with him. We separated that very same afternoon. We didn't spend any more time together, never thinking, we would see each other again. And here we are, still together. So, after we separated, as I mentioned in the other episodes, I ended up going back to Manjarin to work as a hospitalera, where the call to walk to Jerusalem really became very clear and reinforced. And then after that, continued all the way on to Lebanon. Since my grandmother had passed away, my father had traveled from Canada to be with the family. And while I was there, that was where all the fears and all the arguments and all of the voices that came out telling me you're crazy to even want to consider walking to Jerusalem, all of that came out. So Manjarin reinforced it. The family and the people I spoke with kind of dampened it until finally, obviously, another call, which was 9/11, came for me to start walking, as I say in the other episodes. And I think that was around early August, right, Alberto? It was around early August that we met in Finisterre.
I think it was at the end of July.
End of July, around that
End of
time.
July, yeah.
Yeah. So what happened? So what happened to you after I left you in Finisterre?
Well, after you left me in Finisterre, I came back to my home in Cadiz, here where we are in this beautiful city. At that time, I was living in the house of my mother because I already have divorced from my previous marriage. How I told you the other day, I had quit my job, I had quit my marriage, and everything to follow this spiritual path. That happened, that started in 1997. And at that time, in 2000, until 2001, that we met, I was walking that path, we could say, symbolically, but that inner journey. And I came back to my home, but I came back with much more confidence, much more trust in what I was doing. And this was thanks to what happened in that path to Santiago, where we met, in that pilgrimage. Because when I went to this second Camino, because my first Camino was in the year before, the previous year, in this second Camino, I went especially because I was looking for answers. I was looking for answers. I felt that in the last year I had lost a little the spark, the call. I felt a little more lost. No, I was trying to, since I started this new journey, this new spiritual journey, I was trying to consolidate the spiritual with the physical, and the calling or the vocation with the profession. I was trying to find a path where I could fulfill my needs, and to, in some way, that I could, that I didn't need to be depending on others to have the spiritual life that I wanted to have. And until that moment I could. So because since I quit my job, I never needed to ask for money anybody, but I didn't have a salary. I didn't have the salary or the security that I had when I was working. Then I felt that was drowning me a little. Because following the signs and following the guidance that I felt at that time already, I was following the path that I felt that the Holy Spirit or life or my guide or Jesus, how you want to call it, my angels were pointing, but I didn't succeed in this thing. I didn't succeed to have a financial security, yes, because I was in any moment never I was in trouble, but I was always that I couldn't move freely how I wanted to move, or to have the things that I would want. I didn't have access to them easily, and look to me that I was struggling a little, to continue ahead, and then in some way I feel that I was failing. There was something that I am doing wrong. I don't understand what is happening here. Then in that last year, when El Camino again came to me, I was trying to find answers. I was in a voluntary association that was helping to immigrants, and I touched many different paths that I felt that the Spirit was guiding to me to touch, and really these paths helped me, but not in the way that I thought that in this important way for me that I was looking to. Then when this Camino where I met you came to me, I told you in another session, it was to something that I didn't plan. It was an invitation to come like a hospitalero, not like to go to walk again, because I didn't think that I needed to walk again El Camino, because I had that once, the previous year. I thought I don't need to go again. And the fact that was a calling to hospitalero, was something I was going to be paid. In some way too, paid, or at least I was going to have my food, my stay in this place was going to be covered, even when they were not going to pay me anything else. Maybe the travel, the trip to go there and come back. Okay, but this is fair, and who knows what life had for me there, what God had for me in this experience. And with this motivation, I went to El Camino before I met you. What happened? When I was there, I immediately, 2-3 a week in this hospital, in this albergue, I found with something that I couldn't say yes to the requirements that the owners of this albergue was asking to me. And they were in some kind of a fight with the village, and they wanted that we didn't talk to the village, to the people of the village. So you can stay here, do your work. It was more like we were employees. I am not doing this for like an employee. This is for spiritual motivation. No, but they in this fight or controversial situation that they had with the village, they wanted that we didn't talk with them, because they are going to talk to you bad about us. I don't want that they know anything about us. And then in some moment they go, I'm sorry, but I cannot. because I'm here precisely for to communicate with people, with pilgrims, the pilgrims that come and going to hell, and with the people that in the village they were very nice, the people in the village, and the owners too of the albergue too. I don't know what was the problem there. Now today I know that was projection, no, for the like the course miracles will say. But at that moment the situation was perfect because I needed to choose again. I needed to choose. I do the things how I know the spirit will do, love will do, or I submit to what obviously the ego here is asking me to do. Then I was not going to say yes to something that was in contradiction or opposite to what love will do. I digo, I'm sorry, but I love to be here, but I'm not going to stop talking to somebody that come to me. I'm not going to do that. Then you need to go. Okay? And then I found myself with a big backpack, because it was a backpack that I brought, but not for walking, but for to stay there a couple of weeks, or the time that was. And I needed to make that decision, and I did what I felt. That was not anger, that was nothing. I felt that was to the Holy Spirit, I call it today, the God or life was moving things, no? For that I follow where she wanted that I go, no? And then I found myself walking. The story is a little longer, but I'm going to summarize. Walking the Camino, because this albergue was at the beginning close to San Juan de Port. It's in Navarra. So it was in Spain already, but was very, very close to the beginning of the French way. And digo, okay, well, I'm going to walk the Santiago's pilgrimage from the beginning to the end this time, because the first time I did only a couple of weeks. I did only 200 kilometers or something like that. And this time I was going to walk like 700. Then digo, okay, now I can say that I have walked properly El Camino de Santiago. After to resolve the problems, that how I was to send all the extra luggage that I had with me to Cádiz again, and to solve the problem too, that I was not there only alone, because there was another friend that came to me, Tina, our friend Tina. She was the one that invited me to come with her, to be hospitalera in this place. And she found herself too in the same position than me, and how I decided to go, she finally decided to do the same. Then we were walking, but she was not ready to walk. She was going much slower. Yeah. Then I found several things where look at that was making me to go slow. I don't know, like handicaps in that path. And I found in this path, I'm going to find the answers that I am looking. What is that is making me stop in this last year? And I asked to God, please, you know that you love me, and I know that you are calling me. I want to do the right thing. I want to follow my purpose, and then tell me, guide me. Then I knew that all these things were happening because were going to serve me to find what I needed to find, that I didn't know at that time what it was. After to walk all this walk of 700 kilometers, that was like 20-something days, I arrived to Santiago, and even when I had wonderful experiences, many experiences related to with overcome your fears, there is some anecdotes that are very, very good that will deserve the time to tell, but I'm not going to.
Maybe in another time, as we reflect back, we can bring it up.
We can bring it up. But there was all at that moment I didn't notice, but what was all about overcome fear, overcome fear, and to follow the path, and to trust. That was the message that finally I received. And this message, finally, when I arrived to Santiago, I was I feel a little disappointed because I didn't find that answer that I was looking yet. I feel the same. I still feel a little lost. Still I having problems and that I don't know how to solve. Then what happened here? And then came to my mind, wait, I had the opportunity to go to Finisterre because I had heard about the Finisterre. Yes. This is only 2 days more, 2-3 days more to walk to the coast. It's the coast of the death, no? La Costa de la Muerte. And I go there, and it's like the raising of the phoenix. It's the resurrection. I will have a bath in the waters. There, I will burn my clothes, pilgrim clothes. I will do the ritual to start again, like anew, no, in this spiritual path. Maybe in this path I found my answer. And then I decided to do. And thanks to that, I meet you later, because we met after in Finisterre. But in that 2-3 days, that was the walk to Finisterre, when I met Hannah, the German pilgrim that had walking with you until that moment.
Yeah, that's kind of the funny part of the story, is that I had walked with Hannah on and off the entire Camino from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. She's a German pilgrim. But when we arrived in Finisterre, I said to her, my Camino has ended here. And I knew that it ended here. And I said, but I'll meet you in Finisterre. And I took the bus. But she walked. She says she wanted to walk. And in those 3 days of walking, she met you.
Yeah, we met like the pilgrims met. We met in a moment or in a coffee shop, but we didn't talk almost. It was in the last day when we were arriving, finally, we were going to arrive to Finisterre, when I had a sign with her. And I was going out of the albergue where I had spent the night, and the other pilgrims that we meet in every albergue. We walk, and you know how it is. You walk all day alone the majority of the time. Maybe you meet somebody in a coffee place or in a stop, and after you meet again in the albergue. In the night, you had dinner and all that. And then that was the last day. I had walked the 2 days and still nothing. Still there had not received the clear confirmation, clear sign that I needed to receive. And then I was again feeling disappointed. I'm going to arrive to Finisterre, and still I don't. Maybe it's in Finisterre. Maybe it's when I go to the beach and I do the ritual. But I knew because I was seeing the signs that still were pointing me and telling me what to do and the synchronicities. But I didn't understand what they wanted to tell me clearly. Then in this last morning that I went out of the albergue, I was feeling a little down, like there is an Italian character called Calimero. Calimero is a little chicken in the animation of my childhood. It's a little chicken, black with a shell, a white shell over his head, that he always goes sad because the things doesn't work well for him, and he's a little pessimist. No, everything he's seeing everything. Oh, poor of me, whatever.
It's like Eeyore, the mule,
yeah,
Eeyore, in Winnie the Pooh.
In Winnie the Pooh, a little, no, and I was feeling in that mood again, because I don't know if this is going to, please God, help me, I trust in you. I was trying to be faithful. I know I have seen all the miracles that you have done in my life, and really I had experienced so many things before that. I had quit my job and everything thanks to this. I had felt the hands and the clear signs before. What is happening here? Why I don't see it now? So why I had doubt? So I don't see the path clear. Why the things doesn't work finally well? Say, I want to do your will. Why the things doesn't work well? And then going out and thinking in that, I noticed that I have forget something. I don't know what it was. Maybe la cantimplora, the water bottle or something. And then I decided to come back. And when I get back, I turned to go to the albergue again, that still was very close. I saw that Linda was going out, and she did the same. She stopped, and she looked back, and she went inside, like I was going to do.
Oh, so both of you were going back because you both had forgotten something. It appeared.
It appeared, but she was closer to the albergue, and I was seeing how she did the same, a little ahead, like 100 meters ahead. And I look back and I go, what? Qué curioso. And I saw that thing like it was like in a movie, in slow motion. You know, and I recognize many times the signs because happen in that way. Something curious is happening, and I saw slowly, and this is not happening for coincidence. Here there is something. And then I come back to the albergue. I saw that she was speaking something that she forgot, like me. Hi, because we didn't talk. We had not talked already. Maybe smile or as comments and that. And then we went out together. And this time, because in other occasions, she in these 2-3 days, I felt that she wanted to walk with me, but always I talk a little and I continued or I stay because I wanted to be alone to be with God alone. This time I allowed that we walk together. Okay, I'm going to walk a little because and she was talkative. She talked a lot. You remember, Hannah is very funny, very extrovertida.
Yeah, an extrovert.
Extrovert. And then I continued walking with her to see what was that God wanted for what God was pointing me to walk with her. Because maybe there is something here. And in all this conversation that we had along the day, because we walked together and we sit in some place to eat, and that in a moment, she was telling me her life, that she was doing a pilgrim tour, looking for a spirit, and was going now to come back to Germany to work again. She had a sabbatical year, something like that. And I told her my situation, how I quit my job in insurance, how I quit my previous marriage, and I was now totally in the spiritual journey path. I told her, in the last year, I don't know what happened, I feel a little lost. I still feel the signs, I still feel the connection, I still feel that is coming with me, but the things doesn't work well, and I don't know what more to do, and I feel a little disappointed and low. And in that moment, she said something that was what I needed to hear. She said, I didn't recognize at the beginning, but I saw there was something. Immediately I noticed it. What you say? And she said, well, I can understand that you had this problem of confidence or of trust. I understand that you had this problem of trust, because I had passed for that or whatever. I go, wait. What you say, that this is a problem of trust? Yeah, for sure, that is a problem of trust. And I say, problem of trust? And I was thinking, but I'm saying that the problem is not me, that the problem is the people outside, or the places where I'm going to try to collaborate and doesn't work, and I send a message or a letter to a place and can answer. What had to do that with trust? I was thinking inside, but then something inside me was saying, yes, it's about trust. Yeah. And then I say to her, well, and that trust, you refer trust in God or trust in myself? And she say in both. She say in both. And then I go, yeah. And then she didn't understand why I was so happy. I was, yeah. Wait. I went to get a walk, and I was thinking, that is it. And I remember that all the path to Santiago, all that walk, I was telling to people that we need to trust and we need to not be afraid because God was working with us, and we were singing songs about no fear, and a lot. I was saying to the people, to the other pilgrims that I met and I walked along the Camino, the same that I needed to listen to myself, and it was because I had lost a little the trust. I didn't trust in that voice that was guiding me. I didn't trust that the things were going to go well. I was still trying to control and to do the things in a way that I could see that it was going to work. Still, I was trying to control. Still, I was a little afraid that what happened is this doesn't work. What I'm going to do is I continued in this manner, in this way. And then it was very clear. And I saw that all the Camino, all the journey, I was receiving the same message, but I was not listening it.
I love it.
I was even telling to people, I was not listening to myself. Yeah. I go, that is the problem. And I went to call, I went to a telephone cabin.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that
I remember
things?
the telephone booth.
The telephone booths. And I went, I called to my mother, I said, Mama, I'm coming back to Cadiz in 2 days. I had find the answer that I was looking for. I knew that was the answer. And then we continued walking, and Hannah was so amazed that I was so happy, and I was meeting all the pilgrims, and some pilgrims asking me, then, did you find what you were looking for? Yes, I found it. And then I met you. When we arrived to Finisterre, Linda you came in a bus, and Hannah showed me and told me, mira, this is my friend that she is thinking to go to Jerusalem for peace. And I saw a little funny, cute Lebanese Canadian woman that was this amazing project in her mind, and that I met for one afternoon. We talked about this journey for peace that she was thinking, and I felt that was a calling like mine, and I respect a lot. Wow, that is amazing, it's a great calling, but I never thought that I was going to see you again, and that I was going to walk with you that path. But that is what happened. And in this moment, I want to tell you guys, all that you are listening, that I'm going to pass you this same message that I received that day, and I still am receiving today too. And it's the message that life, God tells us always, because she is with us always, and is asking us only to trust, because she is love, and we deserve that love. We are worthy of that love. Then please trust. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really so great. I think I see myself reflected in a lot of what you were going through on your Camino, and being asked to trust, and that you're guided, and that you're safe, and everything is going to work out in your favor, and really still being afraid to do all of that. And yeah, I think I think other pilgrims too will see themselves reflected in that kind of a journey, and the message, which is always the message that comes to us from this presence called love, that says, just trust me, I will guide you. I know what most will serve your inner journey, and not what you think is best for your outer journey. So I appreciate that. Thanks for that. And so then, while I continued onwards, you obviously went back to Cadiz, right? Is that what you did? You went back to Cadiz?
Yeah. We say goodbye. I say
we said
goodbye to
goodbye.
you. I say goodbye to Hannah. We exchange numbers, because she told me that maybe after, when she finished some things that she needed to do still in Spain, maybe she wanted to go to Andalusia. So, and she said, and I thought that was a joke, but she said, maybe you can be my guide there. They go, yeah, sure, you call me. But I didn't think that this was serious, or maybe yes. I don't know, but I didn't. I was totally whatever you want. I was saying to God, whatever you want. Then I come back to Cadiz. I come back with a lot of trust, a lot of peace. Because when you have trust, you have peace.
Indeed.
Because it's the fear and it's the worry, it's only because you don't trust. You are a little afraid of what is going to happen. But I had trust, and I had peace, because I had this amazing partner with me. I had God with me. The whole Creator, the one that knows, and the heart that can do anything. And I was a collaborator with Him. This was my vocation, my calling. And then I came back to Cadiz, and I was simply, okay, let's see what happened now. But I was relaxed. I stopped doing things that I was doing before. Like I stopped to go to some of the places that I was going to help, like volunteer. Yeah, and I was more doing what I felt. I was relaxing and connecting, listening, reading, again, opening, because opening, I knew that something was going to happen in the moment that was ready, and I was listening. I was listening, but from this place of trust and peace. And then a couple of weeks after, Hannah called me, and it's funny because there was another. All is full of small stories. or more stories that had meaning and had sense. In these 2 weeks, before Hannah called, I needed to make a decision about something that was being offered to me. There was a job, some kind of voluntary thing, and I didn't feel that was the path. I didn't feel that was the path, but logic say this could help, this could be good, but I was not feeling. And in the moment that I say, you know, why no? I can try, and if I don't like, I quit. You know? It was what I'm going to do. And that afternoon, I was going to call to the place and to say, mira, tomorrow I'm going and we talk. And we talk. But I knew that if I was going and talk, they were going to convince me. But I had not the feeling. And then I was going to call, and in the moment that I was going to call was when Hannah called.
Really?
And Hannah say, hey, I'm coming tomorrow to Cadiz. Are you still free? Can you show me the city, whatever? Digo, sure. Digo, okay. And digo, then, okay, then I cannot do this other thing. For me, it was clear there was like an interruption there. Digo, no, don't do this. Be open. And then Hannah came, and we were, I was for a while showing the city. She started to show her interest, her affection, her interest, and she was lovely, and we were young, we were free, and she was spiritual. I could talk about all this with her. She understand that still the majority of my friends were not in that path. Even when in the last year I had meet many interesting people, that since I quit my job and I started this path, I started to meet more people with this spiritual interest. This has happened in the last 2 years. Before I didn't know anybody, but still with her was easier. Was easier to talk or whatever. And in some moment she told me, if you are looking for to start a career, to do your art, because I wanted, my thing is, I want to do something spiritual or something artistic. I don't want to do something that is not, that I don't go to administration again, for sure. I want something that continuing myself in this path, and maybe I am sharing with others, and through art, I can do it too, or through spirituality. And then she told me, why you don't come with me to Germany? And you come with me and you start to look there, because there is 2 artisans there. I was in Cadiz like an artisan. There are artisans there, there are associations, you can learn German, you can go to some classes that they are for free. The government help to the immigrants to have classes. You don't need to pay. In the beginning, you don't need to pay nothing for the place, but when you start to get money, you do it. Is what I do. What I did. I went there immediately. I found a job.
So you said yes, right?
I say yes. Yeah. I asked it first. Yeah. Like we do now. I see it in meditation. I ask it to God. I say to her, maybe it's a good idea. Let me to think about. And I asked to God, and because I was doing that like we do now, as I was now with this trust, I knew that I was being guided. I asked every step, and obviously I saw this look that is all planned, this come from all planned, and then I take the decision. Let's go. In these 2 weeks, we felt a little. There was something romantic that came between us, and that was real. Was not only a silly thing. Was something pretty. And why not? I am free. Let's carpe diem. We say carpe diem. Live the moment. No, live the moment. And I'm not going to put more fears and limitations in my mind. I'm going to do is I feel that come from God. I'm going to do. I'm going to trust. And then when she offered, I did. And I went to Germany, and in Germany, immediately I found a job in a Spanish restaurant. I started to work there in the afternoon nights, and in the morning I had time to painting or to whatever. I didn't see Hannah a lot because she was working in the mornings. She was again back to her job, and I was working in the night. But all looked good. All started to look that all was going. Even when I felt a little, look that I am falling again to the routine of working, living, eating, going out. No, but who knows? I am trusting. I knew that. And then I started to receive signs again very clear that something big was happening, was going to come. Something very big was coming, very clear. I had time in the mornings that I was alone. I went to give walks for the parks and make meditation, talking with God, listening. I am here, and the signs started to come very clear that something very big was coming. Something very big, a big jump I remember, a big jump in my inner journey was coming. And then I didn't know what was, but okay, I'm listening, I'm ready. Okay, I say yes from now. And that is when in a week, a couple of weeks after, in November, Hannah say, you know who is coming to visit me? Digo, who? Do you remember this Lebanese Canadian pilgrim friend of mine? Digo, no. The one that was going to Jerusalem? Digo, yeah, sure. Mony is coming. Is coming because he's in her way to Rome. She's going to start to walk this path to Jerusalem. Wow, great, good for her. Well, it would be nice to see her. But the day that we went to pick you up to the train station, that morning, the signs were crazy for everywhere. This is coming. This is the moment. You, what the heck is this? What the heck? And you came in the car when we picked you in the train, I remember perfectly. And there was big balloons, aerostatic balloons.
Like hot air balloons?
Hot air balloons going up with signs. And you, what the heck is this? They say, life, follow, thank you. Like the big celebration because this was, and what is this? What is the message here? And then crossed my mind. Digo, this won't be about to go to do this path with, because you know who I was, who was I to go with you in this journey that you were planning by yourself. But in a few days, you asked me directly.
Yeah, that was not part of the plan.
That was not part of the plan. Obviously, you did for courtesy.
I was being polite.
But that same night, that you make me the question, I had asked to say, I had said to God, mira, God, look, God, I'm not going to force myself in this situation. I don't want either, because I am in a good relationship. I had a job that people is trusting in me. They have made me a contract. I am working there. We are having plans. I'm not going to throw all this for the window. What is going to think Hannah that I am going, she's this, at least that she's tell me directly, Alberto, if you want, come with me. At least that she do that, I'm not going to think in this anymore. And the same day, you offer fears to Hannah, and you say to Hannah, and Hannah say, no, I can't because I'm working, I cannot quit my job now. And then you board your face to me, your hair to me, and you say, Alberto, but if you want, you know that you are invited to. If you want to come with me, you can come with me. And then
darn my Canadian politeness.
And then my jaw drop. My jaw drop. Oh, wow, yeah, I cannot say anymore. I couldn't put that thing anymore. And I knew that a big thing had happened because the first thing that I felt was this is a bomb. Because in the moment that I say this to Hannah, I put the doubt already. Even when I say to her that I didn't know what I was going to do, but I felt that God was calling me very clearly to do this path. But in the moment that I say this to her, I had put a big doubt there in her mind. Our relationship is going to break, or is going to be in danger.
Yeah. I remember kind of your face, and I remember my shock when I was, again, out of just conversation. We were having dinner. I remember we were sitting at dinner, the three of us, a glass of wine, and I was just saying, talking about, I had literally
for the maps.
Exactly. I had just come from seeing Johanna and Jeanette in Amsterdam and The Hague, and I called Hannah to say, listen, I'm on my way to Rome. And it was her that said, why don't you come visit me? You know, it's not that far away. Europe is all very well connected. Why don't you just come for a visit? And I thought, well, she was, I'll give you a good meal, you know, we'll give you a big hug, and then we'll go. I said, okay. And she didn't say anything about you being there. I had no idea that you were there. And so when I arrived to the train station, and I got off the train, and there's Hannah, and I'm going,
And with this guy.
you, what are you doing here? And that was like a shock. Like it was a shock, you know, a happy one. I was very happy for you guys and all of that. And so, yeah, that when, for me, I was very much focused on my sign had come, and my sign was 9/11. So I received the call. My sign was go, and everything will be taken care of. And while we were there, Hannah took me to a couple of camping, like for gear, to make sure I had the right sleeping bag, the right sweaters, like heavier things, because I was going to start in Rome in the winter. And, you know, they said it was colder and needed new boots. And anyway, so I was getting gear. But I had no idea. I was in complete shock when everything pointed very clearly to you walking with me, as that had to happen. And to set the record straight from the outset, there was no romantic kind of, you know, attraction. There was none of that, nothing. We literally were just, you know, the two companions who were feeling the same call. And my call, I felt I was being called, you know, to walk this path because I really saw my life as working for peace. And in my own kind of, you know, plans, I saw myself as working for peace in some kind of like the United Nations or some NGO. Afterwards, putting all of my skills, you know, again, my Mony's plans, Mony's ideas, use all of your business skills, your marketing skills, all of that, and apply them to something that's doing good in the world. So like the UN or something like that. And, you know, you felt the call, but the call for you came to say there is a big jump in your inner journey. I didn't understand it. Exactly. I didn't understand that this too was an inner journey to the depth that it became. But clearly he was using my interest in action and solving the world through outer means and outer projects to get me to go on this journey where I would actually be going on an inner journey. Now, I know that something happened too and you told me about it afterwards. You didn't tell me about it at the time. What you saw, kind of the final definitive sign.
Oh, yeah.
Because it did cause a lot of angst for Hannah. And clearly, it was something that I could understand.
And for me, because I was feeling guilty. I was feeling guilty because I was seeing that she was having a bad time. And I had not said yes. Still, you know, I had not said yes to go with you. But in the moment that I put it out, because I needed to say to her, you know, I was not going to be a few days to make the decision and without say to her, I needed to say to her. But because my idea in the beginning was that she would come with us too. That the three of us we work together. You know, even when you had the plans and your way of doing it, but that she will come. But she was very clear that she didn't. She couldn't do it. She couldn't throw her career out. Let's go to trust. I remember that I said to her, let's go to trust, because God is asking this is because there is a reason, and it's a good reason. But she and then she couldn't. She couldn't, and then I understood. Then my point here was difficult because I needed, if I was going with you, I was going with you alone. I was abandoning her in her version, in her interpretation. I was abandoning her, and for another part, I needed to prepare many things because I didn't have the gear, like you say, all the things that I needed. I had not a sleeping bag or tent or anything, and I needed to look for all this stuff that I had not in Germany. And for another part,
all came to you.
Okay.
As soon as you
In the moment that people start to offer,
offer.
I had this, whatever.
Yeah.
Even I was looking to buy a tent. I was looking to buy a tent. At that time is you know, it's expensive. It's not so expensive for somebody that had money. But at that time I had very little money. I had the money that I had saved in the restaurant where I had been working for 2 months. That was good in tips, but still, you know, for a journey of these characteristics, that we thought that was going to be at least 6 months. After was 1 year. But I felt God was telling me, what are you thinking about money? Trust. I will see, you will receive what you need to do what you must do. And then I needed, everything was, trust me. You do, I will give to you what you need. I will tell you what to do, and you will, if you need to do something, and then, but I had not made the decision at the beginning, but in the few days next, that you decided to go to study in Rome.
Yeah, obviously seeing what this was causing between you and Hannah, I thought doesn't involve me at this point. You two had to figure things out. You two had to come to a decision that worked for both of you. And so I said, I'll leave you here. I'm going to go to Rome. I'm going to follow my signs, right? And I'm going to start walking what I feel I'm being asked to do.
I already had told you that I was going, because I felt that was very clear.
Do you remember the little thing you gave me?
Yeah, I give you a pendant of an eagle.
Of an eagle.
Without knowing that that was
My totem.
your totem, or you told me, and my totem was another one. My totem the eagle was my totem for a while, and after very recently had been changed for the phoenix, the phoenix mythological bird, no? And then I give you the eagle when I hear that. But anyways, I knew that I was going, but still I was doubting until it happened a very strong sign that I told you recently. We talk about this in another place.
You told me while we were walking.
When we were walking, that didn't.
And it kind of creeped me out.
Yeah. You want that I tell now this, or maybe for the next day?
Maybe for the next
For
day.
the next day,
Okay.
because it was a special, very, very important sign, because it was very clear, and it came when to demonstrate clearly that this path was important, that we are not alone, and that this spiritual guide that we have, the inner master, God, whatever you want to call it, is always there to guide us. And when we ask, he answers. And when we decide to follow his guidance, he gives us everything that we need come to us. But when we ask, he answers. We only need to listen, and to listen carefully, and we will find the answers. And this was a big answer, that what came to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think too, and this is something that I mentioned in the other episodes as well, is that we always think we know what best is going to serve our life. We think we know what the best plans are. We think we know, the ideas that are going to be best for us. So we make our plans, we have our projects, we have our ideas. We do the things that we think are going to either bring us peace or make us happy. Always thinking, even if it's a spiritual plan, we always think that, this is the spiritual idea that I'm going to apply in this situation, and this is what I need, or this is what's going to fulfill me or make me happy. And what I was talking about is that this loving presence, which the Course, A Course in Miracles, calls the Holy Spirit, or the inner teacher, or the inner guide, the inner master, is always on the lookout for the opportunities to help each one of us in their inner journey, not to achieve the things of the world, or what the world values, the goals of the world, that those become the means for you to accomplish something. Like, for example, the walk was a means, the means that this presence knew would be the best way for their wisdom, their teaching to come through to me. So I was willing. It saw that here I was willing to go through this energy. I was willing to go through this process. I was willing to examine the fears. I was willing to look inwards. I was willing to listen to its voice as best as I could, following signs and synchronicities like you. So I was doing my part, and you were doing the same thing. Yeah. You were doing the same thing on a completely, almost like parallel journey to mine. And I, sitting now, like 25 years later, I look at it as that loving presence knew that bringing us together would be the way to accelerate the inner awakening, the inner work that each of us needed to do. I would be the mirror for you, you would be the mirror for me. We would be the partners, the compañeros in each other's life that would serve that purpose of inner healing, inner awakening a lot more quickly than doing it alone.
Yeah. And
So
the experiences that we needed to live
Exactly.
for this awakening, for this
The
inner
in-
journey
exactly
of
for
remembering. Yeah.
exactly, and for the healing of the past that each of us needed to continue working on, the healing of the expectations, of the resentments, of the things from our past, the memories. All of that comes up, of course, whether you're on the Camino or whether you're on the pilgrimage that we were going to do together. And so all of it, there is a loving plan that is beyond what we think is the best plan for us. And we're not accustomed to looking to another plan. We're accustomed and we're taught, and it's valued. Like it's, you are rewarded for making your own plans, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, being independent,
Planning ahead.
plan. Always use your past as the barometer, the reference or the barometer for, okay, what happened in the past? What didn't work? Okay, correct. Keep this, discard that, and use that to make, more plans in the future. But it doesn't really permit a completely different paradigm or completely different perspective to enter, because you're already decided, I'm looking at the past to determine my future. And there isn't a moment to kind of pause and say, well, maybe there's a completely different way to understand what's happening here, but I'm not open to it.
Or to say simply to this presence that you are talking, guide me. I will follow you.
Yeah. We're definitely not accustomed to, we're not taught that.
And it's, you say to make plans, we are preparing plans and we are preparing plan B and plan C. Is that plan doesn't work, I will have this other plan, and this other is the another doesn't work. It's like we try to have everything so fixed, so controlled. So this doesn't work in this way, that is how I want. It's going to work in this another, that is how I want to, or in this another. But you are the one that needs to plan every step. That is what the world had teach us.
And this is what the world values.
Yeah.
And this is what, and we're taught that if we depend on this loving presence, that's almost, how do I say, archaic, because that's not modern. Nobody just surrenders their life and trusts in something that they can't see and touch, to kind of surrender completely and say you trust in this loving presence because of some signs or synchronicities or because you saw an eagle or whatever. All of this is contrary, really, to what we are taught. Especially in my case, because that is something that is not something that was considered important, valuable, or even a positive thing in your life.
Yeah, because too there is the belief in this kind of thinking of the world, how we know it. There is the belief that we need to develop ourselves. We need to build ourselves. We need to grow, improve ourselves, and we need to learn of our mistakes and from there to improve ourselves. It's like we need to make ourselves like something better and bigger. Now we are learning from a long while that we don't need to build ourselves. We are built already. We are built how God created us, or how the Creator created us, because we are not bodies, we are the spirit. We are not characters. We are not the characters that we had think that we are. We had take identity with these characters separate of everything. We are not that. We are the spirit. We are the spirit that God created, and that is perfect already. For that we say many times, we are not evolving, we are remembering. Here look that we are evolving, here look that we are learning, but what we are doing is to put away all the layers that our control and our way of thinking that the things must be had put there. Yeah. And we are allowing that the guide, that all we had, because we had all our inner guide or guardian angel, how you want to call it, the real part of ourselves, the real part of our spirit that is still with us, that we had dissociate from it, but is still with us. He is guiding us because he knows who we are. He knows what we need. And what we need is to leave control aside and to trust. That is what we need. And then the path will shown to us. And we will follow that path. And then we will start to remember. And will look like lessons, but it's, what we are doing is remembering the truth of who we are. We don't need to build anything. We don't need to build everything. Everything is built already. And it's beautiful how always was.
That is so very true. That is indeed so very true. But as we say, this isn't something that innately is taught or that innately comes to us. And it is something that, again, this loving guide will never impose that other way of looking at things upon you. And that's something I mentioned in the other episodes, but is continually waiting for that little kind of breach, that crack in the dam that we have built, that little crack, so that she can enter and say, whisper, leave a thought, give you a song, open a book, see a sign on the side of the road that says, there's another way.
Exactly.
And so, and I love that because, there's sometimes maybe the belief, oh, there's like this teaching that's going to force you to, give up everything, sacrifice everything to follow this way and listen to it. And it's only going to lead you to abandon everything and lose everything that you love and value. But that's not been our experience. Our experience really is love would never do that, number one. And if we think that, then we have a lot of ideas about love demanding sacrifice that obviously need healing. And we're going to definitely talk about that. But it's this loving presence can only work inside of what it knows won't scare you or won't make you kind of head for the hills, or that you can accept without fear. But we have to be willing to say, okay, I'm willing to try this. And I know
see things
you're with me.
in another way. No? Here then, we could say now that if you had made plans in something and the plans that doesn't work, they don't work, the world will say this is a big trouble or it's a big drama, disaster, but the spirit is so happy because you are close to say, okay, if this doesn't work, maybe there is another way. And when you say that, maybe there is another way and I am open to explore it. And it's when you can see how spirit can, your guide, your master, the one that knows and can show you the way. Then let's celebrate that our plans, they don't work.
I love it. I love it. Let's celebrate that our plans don't work.
Exactly. I want that my plans work when they are aligned with the main plan, the plan of God or the plan of our inner guide, the one that knows. Yeah.
That's great.
Let's celebrate.
Let's celebrate that. Okay. Well, we're close.
And let's go to trust. No, that is the other. We celebrate and we trust and we follow the path. Yeah.
Well, we're close to an hour again, so why don't we leave it here for now? That was another great conversation. There's obviously much more to say, but from here on in, we begin to walk together. And so our experiences begin to take shape as the two of us, really two unknowns, we don't know each other, two pilgrims that had just met each other, start to learn to walk together, and what that, all that implies and all that brings up, and how we interpreted everything back then, the lens through which we saw everything back then, and maybe how we would look at it a little bit differently today. Yeah. And that's really what I'm looking forward to also kind of exploring with you too, is like, how do we look at it today, especially through the lens of A Course in Miracles, which we have to explain a little bit what A Course in Miracles is before we start explaining through its paradigm.
But many of the things that the Course in Miracles say, we already knew at that time, because we had read books and to put in practice many of the teachings, because we had read books of authors that had been students and followers of the Course in Miracles. We taught us no. Then our understanding was close to the course at that time, but not totally. But with the years had become more and more until now that is totally involved on it. There is nothing else.
Terrific. Okay, well, I hope you all enjoyed this episode, this conversation between Alberto and I. I hope it left you also with a few nuggets that you can take with you to use not only on your pilgrimages, but on the everyday moments. That is our life pilgrimage as well. We thank you for being with us today, and we look forward to you being with us on the next episode. Until then, buen camino, pilgrims.
Buen camino. See you soon.